You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It is the Conway Show. Mo Kelly is here. Normally your show. And I'll be here till 8 o'clock. Then you take over for the rest of the night.
Till 11 o'clock.
Yeah, till 11 o'clock. That'll be great. All right, we have L.A. City Council member Traci Parks is with us, representing mostly, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 11th district is a lot of the southwestern part of the city. Is that correct, Traci?
That's right. Everything west of the 405, south of Milholland, down to the LAX.
All right, that's huge. That's huge.
Huge.
Yes. Is there any way that we can get Santa Monica back?
I tell folks in Santa Monica all the time, I surround you on three sides. You are my constituents, and I'm really lucky to have a great relationship with Santa Monica.
Oh, that is great. Where do you see some of the measures, Measure A and Measure G, going?
Interesting question.
Thank you, Traci.
So Measure A basically repeals and replaces County Measure H, which was a 1/4 cent sales tax to raise money for homeless services. And here we are all of these years later. The mental health and addiction crisis on the streets in Los Angeles is worse than it has ever been. And this Measure A would replace and repeal that by making the sales tax permanent and doubling it from a 1/4 cent to a 1/2 cent. So the question here really is, our voters who historically in LA County have been very generous when it comes to taxing themselves to address the homeless crisis, are they going to do it again here? And I think this is going to be a very close call. I've spoken to a lot of folks about this one, and what I consistently hear is a high level of frustration with the lack of accountability, the lack of transparency, and overall, the lack of success that we have seen so far. I think Prop 1 on the March ballot was a good test run for this. In terms of what the mood of voters is, that squeaked by, 50.1% to 49.9%. And I think Measure A is going to face even maybe a more difficult hurdle here in LA County. Voters are fed up.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I love how honest you are about it, because you have seen your share of homeless problems in your district. Because look, if you're homeless, if you have two choices, stay downtown LA or go to the beach, everyone goes to the beach.
Well, and that's right. And it's the literal end of the line as well as a regional gateway. And, frankly, we have been so successful with our efforts to clean up the west side of Los Angeles that, frankly, the folks who are left on the streets are folks that are either too unwell or addicted to say yes when help and services are offered, or they just don't want to go. And so, the funding that deals with the mental health and the addiction issues is really important. The policymaker in me says yes. The taxpayer in me says no.
Okay. And I think you're exactly, if you take off your city council hat, I think you're exactly on page with every taxpayer in the city of Los Angeles. When is enough enough? All right. So we'll see how those do tonight. And then what about the DA's race? Where do you see that?
I think Nathan Hochman is going to prevail in every corner of Los Angeles.
Wow.
I speak to victims of crime every day. I hear from businesses who are sick and tired of being broken into. I represent constituents who have been the victims and are loved ones of violent crimes. And they are sick and tired of the lawlessness, the chaos, George Gascon's failed social experiment, and they are hungry for a district attorney who is going to start holding criminals accountable again. I predict that he is going to win countywide in every community. I think this is just going to be a landslide tonight. And I think it sends a message to elected leaders in Los Angeles that they need to start getting serious about public safety. Now, whether they're going to hear that message or not remains to be seen, but I think Nathan Hochman is one step in the right direction. I am also really excited about Prop 36, which is an effort to reform Prop 47, one of Gascon's epic failures here in the state of California that has led to the rampant addiction and retail theft crisis because there are no longer any consequences for those kinds of crimes or mandates for people involved in drug-related crimes to get treatment. Prop 36 fixes that and opens up those pathways to care and accountability.
I think you're right. Traci, I know it's a busy night for you. We really appreciate you coming on. Are you heading over to the either of the DA's celebrations tonight?
I will be. I'm looking forward to celebrating with our next district attorney, Nathan Hochman.
Excellent. Nice meeting you over the phone. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you. Traci Park, the 11th Council District, which is, again, mostly the beach with the exception of Santa Monica. So you got Venice and all the way down the coast, all the way up to the 405. Mo Kelly, keep an eye on which race here.
I'm looking at it just big picture, and it's just not trending well for the Vice President, Kamala Harris. If you look at just about all the states, she is either behind or not necessarily in a good enough position to overtake Donald Trump in the competitive states. Looking at Fox News, they've already called Ohio for Donald Trump. So at this point, there's a very, very narrow path to victory without getting into all the specifics for Kamala Harris. If she loses Georgia and North Carolina, that pretty much would be it. And if that were to happen, feasibly, they could call the election tonight.
Wow.
If that were to happen. But it's going to get a little bit closer because, of course, you'll have California, maybe Oregon, and that will make it closer. But you just have to look at each individual state as far as which one that Harris could flip to get back the states that she would need from the Joe Biden electoral map.
Right. And I'm looking, this is remarkable. I'm looking at Arizona right now at 36% reporting, 639,000 to 639,000 and change. That couldn't be any closer. Again, we don't know where now it just changed to 38%. All right. So we're going to have Arizona. We'll have numbers for you from Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon as well. Oregon with 1% reporting. So it's not even worth mentioning the numbers there. Colorado has turned bright blue and has been called in on every news station, every cable station for Kamala Harris, but is surrounded by red states. Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Utah. And so we'll continue here to figure out this thing. I'll be here till 8. Mo Kelly will take it to at least 11 o'clock. Maybe there'll be a winner tonight. Maybe there won't be, but we're keeping an eye on the overall, the totals, the national totals. Right now, 46% for Kamala Harris and 52% for Donald Trump. Google has it at 109 for Harris, 198 for Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump literally needs 72 more electoral college votes, and he is the next president of the United States. We're live on KFI AM 640. Conway, Mo Kelly.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
This is America.
KFI AM 640, it's Conway Show. It's actually Mo Kelly's show, but I'm here till 8. My old time slot. I like this time slot. I like the old time slot.
You want to switch?
You know what? I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Well, I thought you liked having time to do stuff with your daughter. And
look, I thought that if I got home at 7, I'd have, the all-American dinner with my wife, my daughter. We talk about the day. I go home. My wife's in her office. My daughter's up in her room. And I watch TV. No different than it was before. All right. We're keeping an eye on the election. It is going about the way that everybody predicted. Everything is way too close to call. You're going to see California close here. They're going to close up and halt the vote in about 40 minutes. And then you're going to see 54 electoral votes go towards Kamala Harris. That's going to get her much closer than she is now. Donald Trump won, according to CNN, 178 to 91. According to Fox, Trump 205 to Harris 117. And according to Google, 198 for Trump, 109 for Harris. What states, Mo, I mean, she has to win Pennsylvania then.
Has to win Pennsylvania. And the last update that I saw that she fell behind there. And also, when I was doing Spectrum this morning, I was saying I was also watching the Senate races because that's a statewide race and it will give you a sense of how people generally feel about the party. And saw the Senate, Bob Casey, the Democratic senator, is falling behind in Pennsylvania, which says that the Democrats have a problem nationally, have a problem in Pennsylvania, which portends that there's probably going to be a bad night for them coast to coast. Doesn't mean that necessarily, but it's a bad sign for them.
Before we get to Steve Gregory, you think the big last hope is to flip Congress then?
Yeah, that was about the only thing they really could have had the best shot at. Yeah, you want to win the Oval Office, but you definitely want to win the Senate, and the map did not look well for Democrats because there are more defending seats than having the opportunity to flip them. If you're defending, all you can do is keep the status quo at best. They were never going to win West Virginia because Joe Manchin had left. They probably weren't going to win Montana because John Tester was running so far behind his opponent. So the odds of keeping the Senate were slim and none. But if you look at how the other races are going for the Democrats in the Senate, it gives you the sense that nationally the Democrats are not going to do well, and that can impact what happens in the House.
I see. All right, let's talk to Steve Gregory. He's out. Keep an eye on the DA's race. Steve Gregory, you're on KFI. How you, bub?
I'm well. How are you this evening?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for being so formal, young man.
That's right. It's good to be here. It's good to be with your show.
Give us a scene setter. What do you say? What's happening out there? Are these 750 people mobbing the place yet?
Well, the doors don't open till 8. So
all right, we'll call you later.
Yeah, exactly. So we're still in sort of prep mode here. People they're scurrying about, and we've got more workers coming in, and catering's being set up now, and food's being placed out on the tables. The booze is out, ready to go.
Real? Free booze, free food?
Yep. Free booze, free food.
Look at you. Also, not a mystery why you're out there, huh?
No, I had to order my food. I had to do Uber Eats for my dinner tonight.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, there's no food for us. And it's funny, the way we're situated here, we're in this long courtyard right at the intersection of Crescent Drive and just off of Little Santa Monica. And this beautiful, long, narrow courtyard has got, these fountains in the middle, and then it's got these flaming torches on the side, those space heaters, outdoor heaters, all lined on the outside edges, and then all these tables with these decorative centerpieces and whatnot. And they're anticipating up to 750 people here.
Wow.
They've even got a honey wagon across the street. For those that don't know that's porta potties in a nice clean trailer, like they use on movie sets. So they're expecting quite a crowd here and a lot of drinkers apparently.
And when is Hochman expected to show up? Is he going to be there exactly at 8 o'clock?
We had a chance to speak with him a little after 4 o'clock this afternoon. Some of the audio I've been playing on KFI News, but they said he will probably address the crowd sometime between 9 and 9:30. So are you there then? If not, Mo, I didn't know if
Mo's here at 11
live or not.
Yeah.
So Mo, I'll be here for that, and then if you want to bring that live, I can take it to you live on a clean feed on this end. So
sure.
If you want to do that, but so it'll be interesting to see. They've got monitors set up here now, television monitors. So we're going to watch results as they come in when they put up the feed, and then we should have a pretty good sense of where things are at by 9.
Excellent. And how many election nights has this been for you at KFI?
At KFI? Probably a dozen to 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Old
between
school.
The presidential ones and the local ones, yeah. But in my career, it's a few hundred at least.
That's why you're here at KFI, buddy. You're the best.
Yeah, it's just that they couldn't get anyone else to work late at night.
All right. And the free food and free drinks were big magnet.
Like I get to partake in that, especially when, Sharon, when I get a text, can you come on? And it's like, I'm just getting a burger and a beer here.
Yeah, I'm just eating. But you ate an hour ago.
Eating.
Yeah, I know, but I'm eating again. But you ate 2 hours ago.
It's free.
Yeah. All right, buddy. We'll be listening to you at 9:30 when Hochman speaks.
Okay, guys.
All right, thanks, man. All right, there he goes. Steve Gregory out there in Beverly Hills and the DA's race. Mo, I've never seen a state react so quickly and in such big numbers to crime with Proposition 36 and now the possible DA in Los Angeles being thrown out.
I try to tell people all the time, all politics is local, all economies are local, and all crime is local. It's about how you feel. What I mean by that is if you don't have a job, be damned whatever the rest of the country is, or what the unemployment numbers are, your economy is bad.
Right.
And people vote emotionally. I don't say that's wrong. I'm just saying that's the motivation. If you feel the economy, you're going to vote regarding the economy. We feel the crime. We're going to vote accordingly. Be it the DA, be it propositions, be it law enforcement, and you're seeing that play out.
I think you're right. We live, my wife and I and my daughter, we live on an alley. Our house backs up to an alley in Burbank. And 3-4 years ago, I would go out to the alley, take the trash out or pick up trash or whatever, or just walk, into 7-Eleven down that alley. Never, ever for a second felt like I was going to get jumped or, there's a homeless guy, is going to come out and yell at me. Now I don't walk in that alley at night.
And this is what I think elected officials intentionally deceived us. You'll see an elected official, and both parties do it, but I'm saying when you talk about California's Democrats, we'll say, well, crime is down. Yes, statistically, crime may be down, but it's different. You didn't necessarily have to worry about someone just walking into a store and ransacking the place.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about someone walking down the street and beating up someone who's elderly. You didn't have to worry about the homeless person on the corner who may accost you, or you didn't have to worry about someone who's going to get out the car and try to take you or your dog.
Right.
It's a different type of crime, and all of us can feel it right where we are.
And the one thing that didn't exist, or if it did, it was on a very infrequent level, is these street takeovers too. They're now every single night.
But it's also connected. You have the street takeover, and it may turn into a robbery of a 7-Eleven.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So they're not discrete as in separated incidents. They are tied together.
We are going to continue to give you numbers here. Let me give you the latest here with Google. Donald Trump 198, Kamala Harris 112. CNN has it a little closer. Kamala Harris 91, Donald Trump 195, and Fox has it at 205, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris 117. So we'll have all the numbers for you here. They'll continue to come in. Polls close at 8 o'clock, and we'll have a lot more information for you around the 8 o'clock hour. Mo will be here till 11 o'clock tonight. It's Mo Kelly, Conway.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, it's Conway Show. Mo Kelly is here. I'm splitting at 8 o'clock. He'll take you to 11. But we have some more numbers in for you here. And Mo Kelly's keeping an eye on all of them. He does politics better than I think anybody here at the station. And what do you see?
Well, I mean, at this point, we're having the Midwestern states, which are being called. And not surprisingly, most of them are going to go to Donald Trump, as they did go to Donald Trump in 2020 and 2016. Like Fox News is calling Montana 4 electoral college votes, North Dakota 3, Utah 6. That's not surprising anyone. So that doesn't change the complexion of the race, but it's one less or two fewer opportunities for Kamala Harris to change the trajectory of this race. That's the presidential. As far as the Senate goes, it's looking more and more like the Republicans are going to not only take control of the Senate, but have some seats to work with, which is real important when you're talking about if it becomes 47th President Donald Trump. when you have control of the Senate, just to go civics for a moment, you can then get through all of your appointments. You can get through your federal judges. You can get your Supreme Court justices through if there are any openings which should open up. You can get through a lot of the things that you as a president would want to get through. Legislation, yes, you need both houses of Congress, but as far as appointments go, like your cabinet or attorney general, something like that, you want the Senate.
Excellent. All right. Elex Michaelson is with us from Fox 11 News, taking a break from giving out numbers on Channel 11, and he joins us. Elex, how you, bub?
Ding dong with you.
What do you hear? You have a lot of resources. I know you're close with a lot of politicians on both sides. What's the word out there?
Well, I think if you you'd rather be Donald Trump than be Kamala Harris right now. He has, it looks like, more paths to win. It looks like he's going to win North Carolina and has a real good shot at winning Georgia. And so this is all going to come down to that blue wall of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And, if Donald Trump wins any one of them, he's probably the president. He didn't even have to win necessarily Pennsylvania. Where right now he's ahead slightly, although all of these races are really, really close. But you don't see an overwhelming rejection of Trumpism. You see basically the country is very evenly split.
You know, we had Traci Park on from LA City Council, and if I didn't know that it was 2024, I would have thought it's 1974, because even the LA City Council members have gotten the message that crime has got to stop in L.A.
Well, she has.
Well, she has, but so has the people
Traci
voting for
Park is
DA, and so are the people who are rejecting the F the police comments too.
But there is still a significant number of Democratic socialists on the LA City Council who do not have very positive views of the LAPD or of policing itself. Traci Park is on one side of the LA City Council, but there is a not insignificant other movement on that council as well.
Yeah, I get that, but I think that the louder voices are the people who are coming out and saying we've had enough.
Yeah, I think that the overwhelming message, most likely from the California numbers, which we haven't gotten yet, but if they're in line with the polls, in which I expect that they will be, is basically saying that the city is sick of homelessness, sick of taxation, and sick of crime. And even though many of them will be willing to vote for Democratic people, many of whom created those policies, if it's just a question on the policies themselves, they're willing to vote against them. And the pendulum is swung in a dramatic way on issues of homelessness and crime, because a lot of Democrats, moderate Democrats, are simply fed up. Traci Park used that feeling to defeat Mike Bonin in her race for LA City Council. And she brought together a coalition of people who felt that way and has governed that way. But we'll see, going forward, if there are other members of that council that potentially lose their jobs in the years ahead because of that feeling.
Yeah. And it's also remarkable. I'm sure you read the story because you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on here, not only nationally, but state and locally, county and city. It's remarkable that, that Jim McDonald is going to be the next chief of the LA Police Department, has asked for what looks like a $350,000 raise over the previous chief.
And they're willing to give it to him.
Yes, that's remarkable.
Pretty wild.
In the same city council, he has to go to that city council to justify and ask for that kind of money. And three members on that board are in the F the police crew.
And Jim McDonald will be making more money than the president of the United States.
That's right. Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah,
like $150,000 a year more,
which is pretty extraordinary.
But still, and I know you're going to laugh and deny this, much less than what you make. There's the laugh.
I wish that was true.
There's the denial.
I wish that was true.
Both.
That was a
Ding
different.
dong.
That was a different.
Ding dong. Got them both.
Different era of media.
I guess laugh first, then denial. Got them both. Buddy, I appreciate you coming on. You're going over to the DA's race. Or are you staying in the anchor chair where it's nice and warm?
I will be at the Anchor Chair tonight. We have special coverage from 10 to 11:30 with all the local results coming in. We should have some real numbers by then and hope people can check it out.
Remember when you used to be hungry and you used to go out there and cover news?
I've been out in the field like 4 times in the last week. What are you talking about?
Do you remember that, Alex, the old days?
I do. I was literally in the field twice in the last few days.
I know that offends
you. Yes,
you.
I remember yesterday when I went out in the field.
I appreciate you coming on.
All right.
Okay, thanks, man. All right, there you go. I don't know why he keeps coming on. All we do is bust his balls.
No, not we, you. It's you, Tim.
Okay, yeah, right.
Not Sharon. Not Stephen.
Ronner.
Not Ronner. You.
Okay, I'll give him that. I'll give you that. That's true. But I did ask him a couple of weeks ago. I said, buddy, where is your nearest, and be honest with me, where is your nearest Walmart, and have you ever been there? And he said, I don't know, and I've not been there.
That's a virtue. If you had an option, would you go to Walmart?
I love Walmart. I'm a big fan.
Where's your Walmart? Because the ones I go to,
Center.
okay, they fight in my Walmart.
Okay, my Walmart is a disaster. They fight, they steal. The woman checking your receipt at the
As
end
an attitude?
is like a Gestapo.
Yes.
And I love all of it. I love it. And I go to clearance when I get there because I'll see if I can buy any cheap crap.
Oh, that's the stuff that's usually on the on the floor because they never clean up the place.
That's right. That's right. I'm a big fan, but I do wander out to other Walmarts because this one's it's small and it's rough.
You need
crowd.
to go one south of Burbank, okay?
Yeah, it's a rough crowd in Burbank.
It's like choose your adventure.
Yeah, exactly. But you live out near what was the original Costco.
Yes.
The Price Club. On was it Prairie? Not Prairie. I guess it was on Century.
Century. It was on Century. Yeah.
And we used to make a trip from the Valley to that Price Club.
Do you go by there now? They usually have a guy who's in the parking lot who sets up his truck and starts playing drums in the back of his truck all day, all night with the speakers and everything.
Oh, that's
loud as hell. Usually on a Sunday.
Right across from the Hollywood Park Casino.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah. Good times.
All right. It's Conway, Mo Kelly. We're keeping an eye on all the numbers. The polls close in California in 16 minutes. So we'll have some more numbers for you after that. And we'll come back. We'll give you, most keep an eye on all these states, and we'll give you a huge overview from 36,000 feet of what's going on with this presidential race. It's Conway, Mo Kelly.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Conway, Mo Kelly. I'll be here till, another 10 minutes. Then I got to press on. You're going to stay until 11 o'clock.
Yes, I am.
You and I come from similar dads. Both of them love the racetrack.
A lot.
My dad never had the conversation with us about quitting work and becoming a full-time handicapper. Your
you
dad
missed out.
did.
Yeah, you missed out. That was a good time.
But, my dad sort of did it anyway. He was there 3 or 4 days a week.
The difference is your dad was also very successful in the entertainment business, and you had something to fall back on. My father was only a teacher, and he traded being a teacher for that. So there was no other alternative form of income.
So I'm asking you that because gambling has been a big part of your life, and has it been mine as
Yes.
well. Who would you make a bet on to win this thing?
As far as president?
Yeah.
Oh, all the signs are pointing towards Donald Trump. That's just a fact.
Donald Trump. And if you think it's going to you think it's going to happen tonight, tomorrow, later this week?
It could happen tonight if if Arizona falls for Donald Trump, Arizona and Georgia, and let's say Wisconsin, because those 3 states will probably be called tonight. If Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, because Wisconsin will break up the blue wall for the Democrats. If that happens, they'll call it tonight.
Well, Arizona is an odd state. You have Phoenix and Tucson, but you also have the northern part of that state. I don't remember what the county's called, but there's a northern part of that state that's also very blue, but it's not a city. It's not, urban. It's a rural area that happens to be blue.
Yes, and Arizona, from what I'm looking at FoxNews.com, it's a dead heat with 50% in, and Donald Trump is up like 2,000 votes.
Yeah.
Which
It's
goes
always
back
that close there.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. if it's like within 1 or 2 percentage points, there'll be a mandatory recount, which would keep from them calling the state, which could impact whether they call the race tonight. Right. So there are still other factors involved as far as whether it would be called tonight or not. And it could be a moot point if Harris were to lose Pennsylvania, for example.
Right. But knows what has tightened up in the last even 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes, is Georgia. Georgia went from, 53 to 46, and now it's at 51-48. And there's really only a difference of 141,000 votes.
Right. And that's another state. If it falls within, I think it's a 3% threshold, it would trigger a mandatory recount, and that would delay any type of official projection of a winner tonight. Those are the things that people will say, like, why don't they just call it? Well, there's still state requirements, and it goes state by state as far as what triggers the recount.
Almost all evening, Virginia has been in the Donald Trump column, and now it has flipped into the Kamala Harris column. And with the 13 electoral votes, 73% reporting, she's up by nearly 60,000 votes.
Yeah, that's probably Northern Virginia coming in. And if you know anything about that area, the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, you talked about how DC was so heavily Democratic. So is Northern Virginia.
Right.
So if Northern Virginia, those returns are coming in, that would skew Harris's way.
I have a lot of friends who are Democrats. I have a lot of friends who are Republicans. And I'm going to, tomorrow, whoever wins, I'm going to wake up bummed for my friends that lost, happy for my friends that won, but more depressed for my friends that lost, because I know what losing on a night like this feels like, and it's dreadful. It's horrible.
Unfortunately, I don't suffer from that problem because I always have to maintain a degree of dispassionate analysis. Right. Even though the rest of the country looks at this like it's a sporting event, like it's a Super Bowl. Sure. My side has to win, your side has to lose. And so I remember what it's like when the Rams lost the Super Bowl. I was heartbroken, and for many people, they get heartbroken over a presidential race. Not me, because you have to be dispassionate and almost clinical about it.
The two positive things, if Donald Trump does go on to win here, is, this will be, I don't know, maybe my 14th election or so, 12th, 13th, 14th election. And my life has not changed, but maybe 1 to 1.5%, depending on who's in the White House.
It depends on your voting preferences and what you are actually asking for. If you were hanging on the idea of the reduction in taxes as Donald Trump did in his first term, that might have helped you in that short amount of time, depending on how your economic life may filter out. Like, for example, during the Great Recession, Obama helped me with this loan forgiveness program and the HARP and HAMP, the mortgage programs, which saved a lot of people's houses. It saved my house. I was going through foreclosure. So it varies by person. And, if you can point to something that a president did which personally helped you, God love you, but more times than not, no.
Yeah. And I think unless you work for the government or you're in the military, if you're in the military, it does depend on who's in the Oval Office.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
But otherwise, it is, life is going to go on. That sun's going to come up tomorrow, and people are going to live their lives, no matter if it's Harris or Trump.
Well, I try to tell people all the time, what is happening right here in California with these different measures and propositions, and if it were a mayoral election, those results would have far more impact on your day-to-day lives than the presidential election. Now, the presidential election is important because they're going to presumably appoint Supreme Court justices, which can reshape the nation for the next 30, 40 years. But as far as your day-to-day life, it's your local official.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mo Kelly is taking over here. Thanks for letting us stay for an hour of your program. And you'll be here 11 o'clock. So it's another 3 hours. Oh my God, another 3 hours of all the numbers coming in. We're going to have numbers from Wisconsin. That is getting closer to being called with 60% of the vote in. And then in the next 3 minutes, you're going to get Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, and the most interesting state to me is Nevada. I am thrilled to see what happens in Nevada. It's been the toughest one to guess. A lot of union members there. That's where Donald Trump said he is not going to charge anybody any taxes on overtime and no taxes on tips. Yeah, tips and overtime. And that's where that came from. That comment came from Nevada. So we'll see in the next 10 minutes how that played with people who live in Nevada. Mo, we'll see you tomorrow. Again, thanks for letting me hang.
Oh, always a pleasure.
All right. Mo Kelly continues here at 11 o'clock with Mark Ronner and his whole team. And we'll have all the results after Mo leaves tonight at 11. You'll hear him first on the wake-up call with Amy King, and then with Bill Handel, Gary and Shannon. And, of course, you'll probably get an interview with Hochman with John Colbelt, because John Colbelt, in his support for what probably is the new DA, could literally go out and kill 20 people tonight, and the DA would probably just look the other way. He gave him a wild amount of support, and so he should be very happy with the results, and there will be coming in 1 minute and 28 seconds. Mo Kelly next, and continuing here at 11 o'clock on KFI AM 640.
Okay, so half of us don't like the numbers, but we're doing this election thing. Can we just get to the suing part now, before Christmas?
KFI
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live.